Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As you can see, we're in quite different surroundings. We're not in the loft, we're outside. We were just at Livingston there for the game, arrived back. We're here in Glasgow, but it's time to talk about it. It's time to do the match review as we normally would. Celtic have won in Livingston yet again. No problems, nothing at all, nothing bad. Something that we can be very happy with, very proud with today. It's Livingston 0, Celtic 3. Absolutely buzzing. A good result for Celtic. Always a tough place to go. And today I thought that Brendan Rodgers managed the game incredibly well. You walk away with 3 points, you keep yourself top of the table. And also you've got to remember that very important fact. Celtic have allowed themselves to breathe. And we've put the pressure on Rangers tomorrow to try and get a result. But put all of that aside for a minute. We've got to talk about the 90 minutes that we've just seen. And I don't think that you can take away any negatives apart from the obvious one, the red card being that. We'll talk about that, we'll get on to that. But you take that aside, 3-0, professional performance with 10 men. That's the bounce back that we needed from Feyenoord the other night. I said on the podcast that I really wanted something that allowed us as Celtic fans to breathe, to back the manager and be on a positive wavelength, you could say. And we got that. We got exactly that. We got something that allowed us to walk away from the game today united in happiness. As cringy as it might sound, what we needed today was a result that allowed us to walk away from Livingston without the toxic atmosphere, without the negativities that we saw against St Johnstone, against Kilmarnock. Something that allowed us to walk away from the game being happy with what we've seen. And listen, I walked away from that game today, and I'm going to say this domestically anyway. I say that as if we've had a European win, but domestically, you could argue it was our best performance of the season, especially with 10 men. When you take that into account, I thought that today's performance was probably our most complete one yet, and I think that we're now beginning to see exactly what Brendan Rodgers expects and wants of this team. And with 11 men in the park, we probably could have done a whole lot more. So I'm very happy. We'll do as we normally do. We'll go back to the start. We'll do first half, we'll do second half, and we'll try and do our best. Apologies for it being very raw, but you know what it's like when it's the away games and when you're on the supporters bus and all the rest of it. It becomes a wee bit more difficult to come out and do it the way that you normally would like to. So, let's start from the start then. First half. Team selection, first of all, we were all stunned, weren't we? We were all stunned to see James Forrest in that starting 11. I think that in itself, at the time, seemed like a bit of a daft decision. It seemed a bit of a weird one, considering the fact we've got players like Yang, we've got players like Luis Palma, who have just came into the side and they really need the minutes. So for me, it seemed a bit bizarre on the surface. For the time that James Forrest got in the game, he didn't do anything wrong, so it would be hard to criticise him himself. Would I criticise the decision from Brendan Rodgers to start Forrest? Yeah, I mean, I'd be lying to say, look, listen, you know me, Rodgers mega fanboy number one. I would still criticise it. I think that at the time it seemed a bit weird, but he didn't do anything wrong in his short period in the game. So that was probably the biggest shock from the starting 11. Aside from that, exactly what you would expect. But first half, yeah, we had total control. We got the lead early, and that's the important thing about Livingston. You go there to a tight surface, a plastic park, all the cliches, all the normal narratives of that game. You go there with all of that, and we handled it well. We showed dominance in the opening stages of the game. We looked a better side. We followed on from where we left off. And what was once a tricky venue for Celtic to go to is now one that I feel like we go into with confidence. The Celtic side didn't look worried. They didn't look as though, you look at Livingston, they're a physically opposing side. They're a side that have a lot more height, a lot more power than what we have. I'm not going to deny that, they do. And we're technically a better side. We're a better side quality-wise. But they've got a side that physically, it could worry you. They've got a lot of height in that team, a lot of power, which makes the game really difficult to navigate. However, I thought that Celtic went into it really well. We looked like we had a confidence. We got the penalty early on, easy penalty to give, and very good. We take the lead, and that's important. I think that's been, when we go to Livingston games in the past, The problem has been that we have hung on too long and we've given Livingston too many opportunities. We've given them chances in the game because we've been a bit nervy. But Ange came in, he sorted that, put him aside for a minute because he's now at Tottenham Hotspur. But you look at what he done. He gave us a great confidence, and that squad today, with as many new faces on the side as there is, they carried on from that. It's a place now that I feel like this Celtic team goes to with confidence, and I thought in the first half we showed that. We got the penalty and that just settled us into the game really, really nicely. The unfortunate thing is, not too long after the penalty, we go down to 10 men. And there's the talking point for you today. Joe Hart, yeah. It's not what you're wanting from your first choice keeper. It's pretty daft, and you know me, massive Joe Hart fan. Does it reinforce the point that we need a new first team keeper? Yeah, it probably does. I feel like Joe Hart today was very, for a guy who's 35, 36 years old, to go in as rash as he did today and get that red card, it's, for as much as a bombshell that Joe Hart can be at times, I think that his decision to go in as rash as he did was foolish for a guy with so much experience. And he gets sent off. And do you know what? Rightly so, he gets sent off. I don't think there's any arguing that red card today. I think that it was the right decision. You can't really argue it. I've not yet seen it back on television highlights, but at the ground, I was sitting behind the goal today where he was sent off. It looked like a red card, and you can't argue it. It's very foolish of a guy with so much experience to do that. It maybe reinforces the point that we need to explore the possibility of a new goalkeeper. It's annoying because up until Tuesday, I thought that Joe Hart was settling into the Brendan Rodgers system and this season very, very well. But in the space of 1 week, you get Joe Hart making that mistake in Europe, and then you get him sent off against Livingston. It doesn't look very good on him, which is frustrating. And it sends us down to 10 men, which at that point can become a very difficult situation and a difficult place to navigate. But we dealt with it very well. Scott Bain comes on, Forrest has to go off, and that's the end of his cameo for the day. But we dealt with it very well, which takes me on to the second half very, very nicely. Second half, absolutely fantastic, and this is where I will use the phrase Brendan Rodgers masterclass. We were brilliant in the second half, I thought. Listen, it's not the most gorgeous performance you're ever going to see. It's not Pep Guardiola-esque. It's not, the nicest football you're ever going to see. But to be at Livingston with 10 men on the park and navigate the second half in the way that we did, we were brilliant. I was very happy with what I seen. And we just oozed a confidence that, might have been breeded from what Ange Postecoglou did last season. He kind of laid the seeds for that. But we carried it on very well today. And Brendan Rodgers set up the team fantastically. It might have not been the most exciting thing in the world as a scene. It doesn't matter. At that point, it's about keeping the lead, winning the game, and keeping the confidence high. And Celtic didn't lose any confidence. They coped very well with having the 10 men. And I'm pleased with that. I'm happy with that. Second half, I thought we looked really, really good. It kind of set into it was weird because obviously we took Forrest off, we brought Bain on. I thought for the early stages of the second half we kind of set into a kind of 4. It was like, you want to play a 5-3-2. It was like a 4-3-2. I thought we had Kyogo and Maeda working really well at using that space in the forward 3 that we'd normally have and sharing it between them. When we were off the ball, when we didn't have possession, those two kind of sat as a forward 2, but when we had the ball, they were able to share the role and the responsibility of being a forward but also being a winger. Maeda went wide, Maeda came central, Kyogo went wide, Kyogo went central when we had the ball, when they had to. They were really, really good at navigating that in the second half without the extra man being on the park. And in the second half, I just thought we looked really comfortable, really confident, and that was a good thing about it. Brendan Rodgers set the team up perfectly. Credit to the manager. And he's working his way up to getting all those fans back on side that he doesn't have. Listen, I don't blame you if you don't have Brendan Rodgers on your side, but you can't deny tactically Brendan Rodgers got it to a T in that second half. And after a good first half navigating it out with a 1-0 lead, we carried on. The second goal, we got it. It was scrappy. It wasn't the most glamorous second goal you see, but it kind of sealed the win for Celtic. It let us ooze confidence. And then Dyson Maeda in the second half with that goal, with that finish. Dyson Maeda, he's an anomaly of a player, isn't he? An anomaly of a player. Somebody who's sometimes technically on the ball, doesn't look the greatest. Sometimes it makes you wonder, can he kick a ball? And then he scores something like that right at the death of the game to seal all 3 points. Magnificent. Brilliant. Yeah, really happy with that. But second half I thought we'd done really, really well. And obviously we get ourselves the win. 3-0. I mean, you can't complain with that. It's one of those typical Scottish Premiership games as well. And you're going into facing Livingston, a side who aren't the greatest. They don't have anywhere near the budget we do. You expect to win. You need to win. There's no excuses not to win that game. But being down to 10 men and navigating it the way we did tactically shows you the class of manager that we've got. And I'm really happy with what I've seen. I was happy with the substitute cameos that we got as well. Yeah, pretty much everywhere you want the team to be. So, yeah, happy days. Shout out to the defence, who I thought handled everything really well. Greg Taylor, I thought had a cracking game. Alistair Johnson, cracking game. And a massive shout out to Liam Scales, once again, who is continuously proving himself as somebody who Celtic can trust, as somebody who's given himself an argument to be a continuous starting 11 option at this side. Liam Scales today, once again, brilliant. And Gustav Lagerbielke as well, brilliant. Both of them. Callum McGregor, I thought, had his best game of the season so far, off and on the ball, proving that he's the leader that he is. Even those who have doubted him so far this season must admit that he is back to his best today. Should he continue that? We need to wait and see. But, you know, I never doubt McGregor. You know me in this channel. Even if McGregor plays badly, I will try my best to give him the credit that he deserves, and will continue to big him up in following games. But today, Callum McGregor was brilliant. He's the captain, the leader that you need. Honestly, today I thought that we seen another side of Celtic that we might have missed on Tuesday night. A side that went down to 9 men on Tuesday. It gives you the confidence that even when we go down to 10 men, we can hang in games and we can do what we need to do. And I know Livingston isn't quite a Feyenoord. It's a completely different scenario. It's just, yeah, a great side. And Brendan Rodgers is finally starting to get what he wants, I think. That's the sort of performance that I hope the board takes on note, and I hope the board looks at after Brendan Rodgers comments midweek and goes, right, this somehow has a week to back. We need to give him the opportunities to go and do what he wants to do. Give him the players that he needs to do what he wants to do. But I'm walking away from Livingston with a 3-0 win, happy as Larry. Who's Larry? I don't know. But I'm happy anyway. Right, as you can see, I'm standing in the middle of nowhere. So I'm going to go and get a pint. I'm going to go and enjoy myself. I've already had a drink or two, if you cannot tell. Sorry for the kind of unprofessional surroundings and video we quite get here. I invested in a wee tripod so that I can hold my phone up and record the way I'd like to. But I'm going to go enjoy myself. I'm going to enjoy my Saturday. We will deep dive this win further on the channel either tomorrow or Monday. But enjoy the weekend. Celtic are still top of the table. The pressure's on Rangers tomorrow to try and catch up with us. I love Brendan. I love him. And I love Celtic. We're happy. 3-0 at Livingston. Woo, clean sheet and everything. Love it. Like and subscribe, and I will see you all next time.